The Aggies go one and done in the SEC tournament. They're a 4 seed now in the big dance. Did Texas A&M get a good draw? We'll talk about it on today's episode of Locked On Aggies.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our wonderful friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the baseball team. I mean, just the struggle of a weekend at home against the Alabama Crimson Tide. I am now fully terrified, panicked. I don't feel good about any of it. We'll talk about that at segment 3, tail end of the show here. But we're going to get things kicked off, starting with a discussion about the basketball team. So they go one and done in the SEC tournament, and you know, a game, a real thriller of a basketball game. You see 29 points from Wade Taylor, 17 of them coming to the free throw line. 17 of 18 to the free throw line was, I mean, that's pretty incredible. The Aggies shot 40 free throws. Obviously, there was 10 extra minutes of basketball because of the double overtimes. But they shot, and that's compared to 31 of Texas. It's not like there was like a huge difference from team to team in these in their margin of free throw shot. But a game where the Aggies, I mean, the issue here was a lot of defense. I mean, you outshoot them from deep. You go 12 for 31 from 3, 38.7%. This team making 12 3-pointers, we'll take that all day long, always. Texas only goes 9 for 22 from the free throw from the 3-point line, so they make less than you, shoot a higher percentage, but still, we will take that all day long. The Aggies lose this game once again, 94-89. Holding Trey Johnson to 20 points, and when knowing he played 44 minutes of basketball in this game is pretty incredible. It really is pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know if you told me Trey Johnson is going to play 44 minutes of basketball, how many points is he going to score in a game? I'd probably tell you he scores 35. I think that kid's really special. I think he's going to be a good NBA player. But it's frustrating losing to your rival. And I'm not going to sit here and come at y'all with the John Calipari. Well, it doesn't matter. This does matter. I believe if the Aggies won this game, they probably get a 3 seed. I just think that's the reality. If they win this game, even if they would have lost the next game to Tennessee, I think they would have gotten a 3 seed. I think this loss did cost them a seed line, and things are challenging. So, we'll get to the tournament seeding and all that. But once again, a game, Anderson Garcia gives you 13 points, 4 of 4 from deep. You take that from him all day long. It's a double-double for the Aggies. Big man. Of course, he fouled out in this game with 5 personals. And so did Manny Obaski, who had a big game. I mean, once again, you played an extra 10 minutes of basketball, but still, I mean, getting 17 points from Obaseki, getting 13 from Andy Garcia, those are things that you take all day long, and they can and I think will be the difference for this basketball team in the future. It's funny, if you asked me, and we'll get to the bracket here in a second, and we'll get to the matchup with Yale, and we'll get to all this, but I want to throw a weird thought at y'all, and I think a lot of folks might disagree with this, and that's fine, and I want y'all to hear me out. I think that the Aggies, perhaps in a weird way, benefited from this loss. I just think maybe this could help the offense kind of get going. Now, you did, in overtime, you scored 16 points. So this team put up, and I was impressed. I mean, the Aggies were down 6 points at half. They fight back and outscored the Longhorns 46-40 in the second half. I'm not happy about this loss, and I'm not happy you lost your rival. I hate everything about all of these parts of this. But I do think it gives your team rest. I would have rather won this game. Once again, yes, because it's Texas. Would have loved to have won against the season series against them and all that. But 2, I think it would have given you that 3 seed. So I don't love that you get the 2 seed, that you get the 4 seed. I was frustrated by that. This team really is not playing its best, basketball down the stretch. I mean, you lose, let's see, at the end of February, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row before beating Auburn and LSU. And then you think, oh man, we beat Auburn and LSU. We got a lot of momentum. Let's win a game or 2 in Nashville and then get ready to rock and roll for the big dance. And you lose that first game. And I think it was a momentum killer. Saw a lot of Texas A&M fans in Nashville. Got to talk to some people. That was pretty cool. It was fun getting to interact with some Texas A&M fans. Always enjoy that. But looking at this ball game, once again, I think that's my takeaway of it. We'll move on to the tournament now and all that, but I was frustrated by the loss. I think it cost you a seed line. I think there are pros to take away. I would have much preferred winning this game and then losing to Tennessee. That would have been more ideal. But the draw is out, and of course, the Aggies get things going against Yale. A Yale team that some might remember from beating Auburn last year in the NCAA tournament. And I cannot remember if Auburn, I believe Auburn was a 2. It was either this game, it was either the 314 or the 215. It was one or the other. I could be wrong. I think they were a 2 or a 3 seed. So, but here, let's look that up because now I'm curious. Yale over Auburn. They were what did I just type in? Yale lever Auburn. Wow. Wait, good for me. Good job, Google. They were why is it so hard to find this, you think? They were a 4 seed. Third, yeah. I don't know why I thought Auburn was higher than that. So great example right there. Yale won this game last year. They won the 13-4 game. They beat Cornell in the Ivy League championship game 90-84 to secure this spot in the NCAA tournament. They're a team, the guy you got to watch out for, and I have no idea. His name is John Pulikaitis. A smaller, I thought he was shorter than this. I remember watching. He's 6'6", excuse me. 6'6" guard, great shooter. He has shot over 40%, 40.1, 40.5, 40.9% over the last 3 seasons. So he is a consistent lockdown shooter. He also makes 91.2% of his free throws, and he shoots 46.6%, or 45.4% from the field, excuse me. So they are a really solid offensive team. I'm going to pull up the KenPom rankings, and then I'll talk about Yale for a little bit. We'll talk about them. We'll get into a quick break, and then we'll talk more about the bracket overall, because I think if you get to the Sweet 16, you can do something special. So we'll go ahead and take that break. When we get back, we're going to talk more about this Yale team. Many think they could pull the upset off against Texas A&M. Can they do it? We'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the rest of the draw in the bracket for the Aggies. We'll talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Factor. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated. With Factor, you get chef-made, dietitian-approved meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh, never frozen, and with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences. Each week, you can customize your menu to fit your goals, whether that's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Convenience meets nutrition. I love how Factor keeps you on track with the healthy, delicious meals without the time-consuming prep. It's just a really easy way to get your food in you. Factor also offers smoothies, breakfasts, and snacks, so you always have something nutritious ready to go. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factor podcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 15% off plus free shipping on your first box. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts and 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order, thousands of skilled professionals, and already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. So the Yale Bulldogs, once again, the player to watch out for is John Polakaitis. I'm going to have to work on that. Polakaitis. Yeah, that he's a kid. He's got a March Madness kind of storyline to him. So let's see. What did he have last year against Auburn? 28 points. I remember he had a big game in that one. He was 6-9 from three, scoring 28 points in the Bulldogs win over the Tigers in the tournament last year. Another player that they have is Nick Townsend, a guy that averages 5.4 points per game, shooting 49.1% from deep. And, he's a guy that's not like – he's a guy that you're never going to shoot. He's kind of like, I'd say, Andy Garcia. He makes a lot of them, but he doesn't shoot a ton of them. I mean, it's like – look at his last few games. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1. So he just like – he shoots like one or two every game and just like makes them. But I mean, that's not what you got to be super concerned about. But he's an absolute load of a person at 6'7", 250 pounds. Really good player. Watch some film on him. He also averages 7.2 rebounds per game. And then they have another guard in Bez Mabing, who averages 13.4 points per game. They have a lot of guys who score a lot of points. Those three guys are all over, 13 plus. Then you got a guy at 8.7 points, a guy at 7.7 points, another at 7. So a lot of guys that score, they pull down 38.7 rebounds per game. They only turn the ball over 10 times per game. They shoot 38.8% from three. So let's see where that is in all of NC. That's got to be top 10 in the country, I believe, because I was looking at this earlier today. That is that percentage from three-point percentage, 38.8% is good for 8th best in college basketball. So I was right about that. So they're 8th best in college basketball. Let's see if they shoot a lot per game, attempts per game. And then they shoot, I guess not a ton, unless I missed them. Let's see. They weren't there. They shoot, are they on the second page? Man, they don't shoot as many as I would have thought. Let's see if they're on the third page. We'll stop at the third page. They got to be on the third page. That kid? No? Doesn't tell you how many they shoot per game, but still, so they don't shoot. It looks like they don't shoot a crazy high level per game unless I missed them on this first page. I'm going to go back again. No, I did not miss them, so they're not on there. So they don't shoot. I'd say they shoot probably 25 a game. Let's keep going. See if we can find them. They're not there. They're not on the fourth page. There's no way they shoot less than 23. See, I've watched 2 or 3 Yale games this year, and I watched some film on them. They like to shoot the ball a little bit. Man, they are way down. There's no way they're still going. I had to have missed them. All right, I'm literally going to – okay, we're pausing show, and I'm going to find them. Hold on. Wait a second. Pause. All right, we're back. So Yale is 302nd in all college basketball, shooting 19.7 three-pointers per game. So, I mean, they don't shoot a lot of them, but they make a high percentage, and they have some high percentage shooters. They have a lot of guys who in Polakaitis, in Townsend, who shoots high percentage, Mbang shoots high percentage, Collins shoots 39%. They have a lot of guys who shoot solid percentages. So, they make a lot, but I mean, they're kind of one of those teams that they clearly want to score in other ways. They're not trying to score that way. So, offensive rebounding is a category that is going to be interesting in this game because we talk about this all the time. There is no team better in college basketball at offensive rebounding than the Texas A&M Aggies. And once again, that is why they pull down 16.19 per game, which leads all of college basketball. It's going to be a way that you are going to slow this Yale Bulldog team is continue to dominate on the boards. So let's pull up the KenPom. In KenPom, Yale, as I believe I saw them yesterday. Yeah, they're 73rd in KenPom. So their offense is 59th, but their defense is 117th. So it's going to be a solid Yale offense against an elite Texas A&M defense and a solid Texas A&M offense against a pretty bad Yale defense. So, I mean, I think Texas A&M is going to be able to score in this game. I do feel pretty confident in saying that. Now I want to talk a little bit about the bracket as a whole because we're going to dive more into this game. The Aggies, of course, play Yale coming up here in a few days. That game's on Thursday at 7:25 Eastern, 6:25 Central Time. That game is on TBS. So we're going to talk a little bit about the draw. I'm for the most part pretty darn happy with the draw you got. And I'll tell you why. If you win, you're going to play the winner of Michigan and UC San Diego. Michigan is the team. I'll tell you this. I don't know how y'all feel about Michigan. I've heard a lot of people picking this UC San Diego upset. They're a good team. I'm not 100% sure if I'm buying it. I think I'm leaning toward Michigan winning that game. In KenPom, Michigan sits top 20, right? No, they're 25. They're 47 on offense and 14th on defense. So it'd be two similar teams. Texas A&M is 44th on offense and 7th on defense. So they're two similar teams, kind of middle of the road tournament team wise, offensively in KenPom. But they both have really good defenses. Texas A&M is obviously slightly better, but still both good defenses. I think if you get out of there, here's what I'm hoping for. The reason I like our draws because the 1 seed is Auburn, a team and a coach that, I mean, for lack of a better word, Buzz Williams owns. I mean, the Aggies just seem to own the Auburn Tigers. That's just the reality. So, I mean, if you can get there, if you can beat Yale and then beat either UC San Diego or Michigan, and now, we would much prefer Creighton or Louisville to be the team you play in the Sweet 16 than Auburn because I think they're not as good as Auburn. But you do have Auburn's numbers. I think a lot of teams are going to look and be scared to play that Auburn team. They're not playing good basketball right now, but still, I mean, they're a good basketball team, and Texas A&M's got their number. So they'd be playing them in Atlanta, which means they'd have a lot of fans there. Auburn and Atlanta are obviously very close proximity-wise. But I like that draw. And then, of course, if you do get past that, when you take a look at when you get past those first games, then if you get past Auburn in the Sweet 16, in the Elite Eight, you'd likely probably play, I'd say, Michigan State. I think Michigan State's probably going to get out of there. I'm not a huge Iowa State fan. Don't think they're very good. I think Ole Miss isn't, there's nothing great there. I think that the Aggies, I think they have a real shot to play Michigan State, and that'll be a good game. But, I mean, once again, Yale's a good team. You got to beat Yale first, and I'm not saying that is going to be an easy thing to do. We'll talk more about the NCAA tournament, and, of course, this basketball team, and we'll do that throughout the rest of the week. But we got to talk about the baseball team. Another struggle of a weekend. We'll break it down coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. With the tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Also want to tell you all about the bracket breakdown show that we've got going on. It's a mix between Locked On and Fire TV. It's a fun thing. We're going to show you a little promo video for that right now.
The NCAA Tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA Tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Those are our friends, Isaac Shade and Andy Patton, two great guys. I worked with Andy a lot, actually, on a basketball website thing last year. Great people, great content. Also done a podcast with Isaac before. Incredible people. Go check that out. But this baseball team, I mean, my goodness, I don't know what's happening. It's really bothering me because, like, you've got the pieces to be a good team and you just can't get it done. And it's really darn frustrating. I mean, this team has really grinded my gears, ladies and gentlemen. I'm rooting for them to turn it around. But, I mean, you play Alabama, a good team, number 17, a good baseball team. I mean, we're not griping about it, but you lose this one and you get swept and you score 6 total runs in 3 baseball games. Our pitching staff, they gave up 14 runs over the whole weekend. I mean, that's a pretty darn good job. So what is that per game? We're going to divide this here. 14 divided by 3. That's 4.6 runs per game. You should be able to win a couple baseball games if your pitching staff's doing something like that. And you couldn't get anything going on offense. So, I mean, in the first game, you lose this one 4-6. You get 11 hits, but it's the timely hits. I mean, how many did you leave on base? You leave 10 on base. You just can't get that clutch hit. And you know, that was extremely frustrating. A lot of guys leaving players on base. I mean, what an absolute dominant, I think, performance from your staff this weekend. Now, Prager gives up 4 runs. You know what I mean? It could have been walked 3. He lets up 4 free bases. I mean, could have been a little bit better, but I mean, 4 runs from your starter in 7 innings. You got to give the dude some help. And you know, you couldn't do that. They scored 2 in the second. You answer back and give them 2 more. They scored 2 in the 5th. And then, I mean, that's kind of really the difference. And then obviously the 2 runs in the 9th were the real difference. But at the end of the day, the staff could have been better. It wasn't Prager's best outing, but it was good enough to give you a shot, and your team just couldn't get it done. Then in game 2, the Aggies, of course, lose this one 2-6. Another game where you get a pretty darn good start. I mean, Lampkin goes 5 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 run total, strikes out 8, 3 walks. So give up a few free bases, 6 total walks in this game. Don't love to see that, as y'all know, but a pretty darn good outing. 5 solid innings from Lampkin. And you only get 4 hits in a baseball game. You get 1 from Hensler, 1 from Cash, 1 from Farr, and the 1 from Royo. I mean, I don't understand the offensive struggles of this team. I want to see, what is Jace hitting on the season. And I'm trying to knock Jace. We're not, here to knock Jace a ton yet, but I mean, it's not been, it's not been incredible so far this year. I mean, he's hitting .231 on the year. And, knowing he's only got 5 bombs so far, it's not been the best year so far for Jace Laviolette, and he's got to get going. I mean, he's a guy that we thought is being talked about as a chance to be the number 1 overall pick. And then on Sunday, this is what frustrated me the most about this baseball team. This Sunday game, your staff on Sunday does a hell of a job, a heck of a job to slow down Alabama. I'm only giving up 2 runs. Seeing a Sunday SEC baseball game where your opponent scores 2 runs, you should win that every single time. And you can only get 4 hits, 4 total hits. Great outing from Patton. 5 hits, 1 run, strikes out 6. Weston Moss, great outing. 4 hits, 3.1 innings, 4 strikeouts, only 1 earned run. You give up 2 runs and you lose this game because you get 4 darn hits. I mean, this team, it's just, and I mean, this game, you strike out 10 times. This is supposed to be like the number 3 guys for these teams. I mean, you know, Alcock for Bobby Alcock for Alabama goes 7 innings of giving up only 4 hits. Then Myers comes in and doesn't give up a single hit. This baseball team, I'm full on panic mode. I don't know what else to say. We're going to keep breaking it down. And your pitching staff is doing enough. Were they perfect this weekend? Sunday, yes. Were they perfect Friday and Saturday? No, they weren't. But they were good enough to give you a chance, and you couldn't take advantage of it. This offense has to be better, or this baseball team will do nothing all season long. I believe in them. I believe they can figure it out, but it's all going to be on the offense. The offense has got to dial in. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. I really, really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Monday, and we'll see you next time right here on Locked On Aggies.